In this video, we're exposing 20 secrets Ruger never puts in the manual about the 1022. From a rotary magazine tolerance problem to a trigger pull heavier than most owners expect, this rifle has quirks the marketing skips completely. But the biggest one is saved for the very end. Stay until number 1, the hidden cost that turns a budget rifle into a serious investment. Let's expose what Ruger doesn't tell you up front. Number 20 is a problem hiding inside the magazine itself. The 1022's rotary magazine looks unchanged since 1964, but Ruger has adjusted its dimensions over the decades. Owners who mix a magazine from the 90s with one bought last year sometimes notice a difference of several thousandths of an inch in length. Since the feed lips and ejector sit right on that magazine body, even a tiny variance can cause failures to feed that have nothing to do with the rifle's action at all. Number 19 is about accuracy expectations. Ruger's marketing photos show tight little clusters on paper, but a box stock carbine straight off the shelf typically groups 2 to 4 inches at 50 yards on a shooting bench. Occasionally, a rifle escapes the factory shooting closer to 1 inch, but that's the exception, not the rule. Owners chasing sub-inch groups with the factory barrel and factory trigger are almost always disappointed until they realize the rifle was never built for that job in the first place. It's a fantastic plinker and small game gun, just not the bench rest champion the highlight reels imply. Number 18 involves the firing pin. Deep inside the bolt, a factory roll pin is supposed to keep the firing pin from rising too high inside its channel. Over time, the firing pin can bow or rise over this factory pin, and the result is an occasional light strike, especially with cheaper rimfire ammunition at the range. It feels like a dead round, but it's really the bolt failing to deliver a full hit, something a quick trip to a gunsmith's workbench usually solves. Number 17 is a maintenance trap almost every new owner falls into. The extractor and the bolt face groove around it collect carbon and unburned powder faster than most shooters expect. Once that gunk builds up, the extractor can't fully grip the case rim, and spent casings start staying in the chamber instead of ejecting cleanly. A cotton swab and solvent on that exact spot fixes most of these failures, but Ruger's manual barely mentions how often it needs attention. Number 16 is the trigger pull most buyers never see coming. Ruger's advertising loves the phrase crisp trigger, but plenty of standard configurations leave the factory sitting between 5 and 6 pounds, and some older production rifles from the 90s run even heavier. Compare that to modern rimfire competitors advertising sub 3-pound triggers standard, and it's easy to see why the aftermarket trigger business built around this one rifle is worth so much money. Number 15 concerns how the barrel actually attaches to the rifle. Unlike a bolt action where the barrel threads directly into the receiver, the 1022's barrel is clamped into the aluminum receiver using a 2-screw V-block system. It's a clever, cost-effective design, but those screws can loosen with heavy use, letting the barrel shift ever so slightly and quietly walking your zero off without any obvious cause. Number 14 is about ammunition. Not really the rifle's fault, but a limitation Ruger doesn't advertise loudly. The blowback action relies on the pressure of high-velocity ammunition to cycle properly every time, load standard velocity or subsonic rounds without a suppressor attached, and the bolt often won't have enough energy to fully cycle, leaving new owners convinced their brand new rifle is defective when it's simply running the wrong ammo through the action. Check the box before blaming the rifle. Number 13 is a trap for buyers chasing vintage parts. Ruger switched from cast aluminum to polymer trigger housings around 2008, and purists often complain, assuming the metal was better. The reality is the exact opposite. Those older metal housings were notorious for having the paint flake off, and were actually much more prone to cracking or shattering if dropped on a hard surface, or if the cross pins were over-torqued. The modern polymer housings are significantly more durable and impact-resistant than the vintage metal ones ever were. Number 12 catches people who inherit an old 1022 or buy one that's been sitting in a closet safe for years. Factory packing grease, the stuff applied at the assembly line, can harden over time into a sticky, gummy residue inside the action. A rifle that seems to malfunction constantly often just needs a complete degreasing and a light coat of fresh oil. Owners chase phantom mechanical problems for months, swapping parts and blaming the design, before discovering the real issue was old factory grease sitting in the action the whole time. Number 11 is a customization limit that surprises Takedown model owners specifically. Because the Takedown separates into 2 pieces for storage and travel, it requires its own 2-piece stock architecture, completely different from the solid 1-piece stock on a standard carbine. That means most of the massive 1022 aftermarket, the very feature Ruger brags about most, simply doesn't fit a Takedown without buying stock sets made specifically for it. Number 10 is about the magazine market Ruger's own success created. Once the old capacity restrictions expired, companies flooded the market with aftermarket high-capacity magazines for the 1022. Some work great, Many don't. Feed lip geometry varies wildly between brands, and cheaper polymer-only magazines are noticeably less reliable than Ruger's own steel-lipped BX-25. It's proof that just because a magazine physically fits the rifle doesn't mean it will run reliably in the rifle. We're halfway through the list, and the next ones are the details longtime owners argue about most on every rimfire forum out there. Number 9 involves suppressor compatibility, which isn't standard across the entire lineup. Some 1022 configurations ship threaded and ready, while others come with a plain barrel and no thread protector at all. Buyers who assume every 1022 is suppressor-ready end up needing a separate barrel swap or gunsmith work just to add a can, an extra cost that isn't obvious from the model photos online. Number 8 is the real financial trap hiding behind this rifle. Ruger sells the 1022 as an affordable entry point, and it genuinely is. But chasing true sub-MOA precision means moving to aftermarket barrels and triggers from companies like Kidd or Volquartsen, and a serious build easily runs $700 to $2,000 in parts alone. Add that to the price of the base rifle, and shooters who wanted a budget precision gun sometimes end up spending more than a dedicated bolt-action rimfire would have cost from day one. The base rifle was never the expensive part. The chase for accuracy is. Number 7 is the safety mechanism itself. The crossbolt push-button safety sitting just behind the trigger guard has barely changed since 1964. It works, but it lacks the ambidextrous, easily reachable design found on more modern rimfire platforms, something left-handed shooters in particular have pointed out for years without much response from Ruger. Number 6 is trigger inconsistency across the model line. The upgraded BX trigger, with its light 2.5 to 3 pound pull, only comes standard on select configurations. Plenty of 1022 models still ship with the older, heavier trigger group, meaning two rifles bought on the same day from the same store can feel completely different in the hand, and getting that lighter trigger on the other one means an extra $80 to $90 purchase down the line. Number 5 is a maintenance headache that has existed since day one. Factory 10/22 receivers do not have a rear cleaning port, meaning you either have to clean from the muzzle, which risks damaging the barrel crown, or use a pull-through bore snake. If you want to run a cleaning rod straight from the breech like a standard rifle, you have to buy an aftermarket receiver from a company like Brownells or Volquartsen, or literally take a drill to your factory gun. Number 4 breaks the rifle's own legendary reputation. The 1022 is famous for supposedly eating any ammunition you feed it, but that's not always true in practice. Many individual rifles develop a clear preference for one specific brand or velocity, running flawlessly with it and jamming repeatedly with something else entirely. Switching ammo brands can reintroduce failures that owners mistake for a broken rifle, when really it's just a pickier gun than the reputation suggests. Number 3 affects resale value more than most sellers realize. Because the 1022 is the most customized rimfire platform in America, used listings are flooded with heavily modified builds mixing parts from a dozen different companies. Buyers shopping used tend to trust and pay more for an unmodified original example than a rifle with hundreds of dollars in random upgrades bolted on, even when the seller originally spent far more than that putting it together. Number 2 is a hidden shore buried deep in the accessory catalog. The popular BX-25 box magazine, despite being Ruger's own factory part, gets sticky over time and needs periodic disassembly and cleaning to keep feeding smoothly. It's a simple job once you've done it, but it's rarely mentioned anywhere near the marketing that calls this rifle low maintenance. And number 1, the secret that ties every other one together. The 1022 sticker price is just the entry fee. Between cleaning supplies, a magazine or two, an eventual trigger upgrade, and possibly a new barrel down the road, the total cost of owning one properly climbs far past what the box at the store ever suggested. None of that makes it a bad purchase. It just makes it a rifle you keep spending on for as long as you own it. Ruger just never puts that real long-term price tag anywhere on the label. So that's 20 things Ruger never spells out about the 1022, from magazine tolerances and factory grease to trigger inconsistencies and the real cost of chasing precision. None of it makes this a bad rifle. It's still one of the most reliable, most supported rimfire designs in American history, and understanding its quirks only makes you a smarter owner. If you already own one, you've probably lived through at least 3 of these without realizing why until right now. Knowing the quirks ahead of time is the difference between fighting your rifle and actually enjoying it. Let us know which one surprised you most, and stick around for more honest breakdowns like this one.